Yeah, because it's always a combination of like
it'll make you a little
staying
less
together
with your friends, unfortunately.
But it's like it's got to be a mix. It's like, we're kind of running around looting boxes, and I see you open a box, and like obviously I'm not going to just come grab the shit you grabbed or whatever. So I naturally say like, he's going left, I'm going right or whatever. But but then we engage some people. Somebody gets engaged, and then it's like, well, guys, we got to stick together. And it's like, well, like you can't exactly stick completely together, but you know what I mean. Like it's a.
I'm gonna timestamp that.
Yeah, it's a tough.
Welcome gamers, non-gamers, PvEers, PvPers, and yes, even NPCs. We don't discriminate! This is the New Wave Gaming Podcast, and we're back for episode 58. 58. Chuck T, what up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm great.
My Spanish falls apart in the upper numbers there.
Yeah, that's 58. Give it to us, Chuck. Give us 58 in Espanol.
Cinco ocho.
That'll do. Wait, Cinco Ocho? Wasn't that a football player?
Yeah, it goes the other way.
Or was it different?
It was Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco?
Yeah.
Sorry, football fans out there.
Yeah.
Ocho Cinco.
He's still rocking it after the words.
After all the... Didn't he have like troubles or something? Wasn't he like...
Honestly, I think he's kind of straightened on out. He's been on that Shay Shay podcast with Shannon Sharp and a bunch. And yeah, he seems like he's had some kids, and I think they've kept him straight, like,
yeah.
So,
Oh, hell yeah. Well, yeah. How's it going, everyone out there, fellow gamers? It's a beautiful Saturday. We hope you're enjoying. And hey, usually we try to save this for the end because it just, I don't know, it seems like more, better just to save all the hubbub for the end after the episode. But I just want to do a switcheroo right here and ask all you fellow gamers out there, all you listeners, to help us kick the algorithm's ass. Please, we need your help to get out there to more listeners and fellow gamers. So if you enjoy the pod, please help us with a like, a positive review. If you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, whatever you're tuning in on, a like, a positive review, a follow, all that stuff helps us tremendously. And feel free to share us with fellow gamers out there, especially if they enjoy pods, And that's all. Just wanted to bust that out. Help us beat the algorithm. It's really rough on an independent pod. Am I right,
yeah.
Chuck?
Hell yeah. I hear you, man.
I mean, we got Chuck out there making TikToks and shit. We're just trying to get a couple of extra listeners out there. We need your help, fellow gamers. All right, that's it. Enough of that. And thank you so much. And Chuck, dude, let's pod away, man.
Yeah, man.
Game on.
So I think it's off the grid is what we got to talk about, man.
I knew I had a feeling we were going to get off the grid with off the grid. Well, dude, off the grid is, this is completely on you, ChukTomahawk.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was, I think it's a little on them, and it's part of the discussion, I think, is they did market this fairly strategically, it seems like. And I'm sort of trying to figure that out, like, cause I think that's part of marketing these days is, like sometimes they try to act like it's organically something that happened, and come to find out they were all in cahoots. Like, yeah, it's like, damn it! Like, come to find out Hulk Hogan knows the Macho Man. They're drinking beers afterwards. I said,
just a quick little background, a little antecedent for the gamers. Like the reason I'm kind of putting this on Chuck is because And there's more story to this, but when was this? Like a week ago now?
Yeah.
It was the day it released on console. I believe. I might be mistaken, but
Probably
pretty
the
sure it was-
next day, and you're right. Yeah. To kind of
you're
explain
right.
what you're getting at is like I what I was meaning by them actually advertising this thing or marketing it is I started seeing it on TikTok, like and some pretty big names, like Tim the Tap Man was playing it, and
the Tap Man.
yeah, and a lot of times you see things like this, and it'll only have been released on a computer or something, and yeah, it just kind of dies down really quick for you because you can't really do much about it, or it's like an expensive ass game that you've got to kind of rally the squad to all buy. But like this one ticked all the boxes immediately. It's like obviously you're seeing some pretty cool gameplay. You're seeing people that you trust, to. Like I'm sitting in the Tim the Tap Man gaming chair, for God's sake.
This game is gonna be good because it's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's having a good time. So like it obviously,
Didn't he
so
drop
it showed
the
up,
D word
showed
in
up
one of
on
the
the
videos
on
you
the
watched?
radar, and I was a little cautious because one thing we've talked about is like especially as I've gotten old, being the oldest member of the squad, I guess like I'm probably the most resistant to change, and we were talking a little bit about switching games and how that can be super frustrating at times, and I think when we started Elden Ring, we were kind of even already talking about it, and it was just kind of like, yeah, we're going to finish this fucker before we go do something else, kind of thing. And
yeah, like I can't see myself playing anything until I at least get to the Erd Tree or whatever, like Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Well, because you knew the temptation was going to come when it got hard, because you'd seen plenty of people quit. Including
and then there's my stubborn ass doesn't want to watch any videos.
Yeah, you're rocking through it like that. That's going to take a minute and longer. So, so I was a little hesitant to be like because this is almost just contrary to everything I'd said, and we were kind of focusing on Warframe, right there, and having a good time with it, like.
We just dropped that episode called Warframe is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, and it got even better. Like honestly, I was really just starting to enjoy Warframe when we did last week's episode, but like the next few days, once we got those hoverboards, like I was just dude, some of my favorite video game experiences ever have been on like skateboard or snowboarding simulators back in the day. Like when I was still young enough to be able to do those things in real life a little bit, and like it just like, man, it was just so freaking satisfying, and I think they kind of hit a level like where they were a lot like the same, like each year's title would be just a little bit kookier version of last year's, and
I think
you just sort of get done with it, but man,
it's like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Chuck, maybe I'm hitting what you're talking about, but I think it's fair to say that like a lot of people would say that their best skateboarding experiences were on Tony Hawk, right? Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. And then after that, they were all right. There's been some great games. I don't know, that's just me maybe, but and some of my best snowboarding experiences, speaking of snowboarding games, were like on that Nintendo 64 game called 1080.
Exactly.
That was man, wow. And like the coolest trick you could do on there was the 1080. So yeah,
it goes way back for me to TNC Surf on the original NES. Like was just the freaking bomb. It had surfing and skateboarding all like in the same game, and it had all that symbology from the real like TNC Surf Shop, Tommy Tanaka, freaking ultimate surfboard designer.
Oh man, that's OG right there. That's classic.
Yeah, it had like as it turns out, those characters were kind of like a side show of sorts that kind of like hooked up with TNC Surf Shop and Thrilla Gorilla and that cat, like all those dudes and stuff like that's a whole nother story. But it goes back to me. There was a game 720 that I played a lot at the arcade. Like you were kind of skating around Free World, and there was this like set of bees that like chased you around to kind of force you to go.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, these bees would chase you, and like they would force you to go to the half pipe or to the street skate area, or they would kind of force you into these almost like side quests that you had to do, and man, dude, loved the shit out of that game. I had it on my Game Boy back when I was working for the Forest Service, so when we'd be stuck somewhere waiting for flights or whatever, I'd just
Well, that explains why you were so like pumped, dude, when we first got the K-Drive hoverboards in Warframe, dude. There were a couple moments there where you were just like sounding like a little kid with a new toy, dude. You're just like, you know, I just did a melon grab or whatever, front nose grab.
Yeah, and what I was going through there is I was like, oh man, they've put a little bit of a snowboarding game in here, and I was like, holy shit, they've put a lot of a snowboarding game in it. Like, and then it was like they've put a complete snowboarding game. Like, you know, I was inside buildings and shit. Like, it was like having the time of my life there. Yeah. I mean, it obviously wore off after a minute. Like, you still got to, like, you know, a whole different objective.
Yeah, like all of a sudden I'm at the objective and like
it's like everyone else
over there doing freaking.
Like, you know, you can actually warp there, like travel to.
No, but
surfing
I mean,
down across the map.
I ain't gonna be the one to steal your, you know, because Pepe Tortilla was on it too, dude. He was loving the shit out.
1,400 meters. And, I'll snowboard there.
That's funny, man. And I don't know if you've unlocked it yet, but Pepe Tortilla and I did. You get this thing called the Arc Wing, and there's these Arc Wing missions, man. We'll do some. I don't know if you've done them yet, but you can basically like put on these like wings on your back and you just fly through space and you do missions in space, dude.
Oh, no kidding.
Multiplayer. It's so much fun. Like,
I also saw like a motorcycle's coming in some kind of new like download DLC that's coming out for this game. Like I've kind of seen some gameplay like we're going to get it looks like you know like more like crotch rocket type.
Oh, dude, that'll be sick, man. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Warframe
so I'm not ready
you know?
to even myself, like, you know, completely back out of Warframe. Like I was having a good time with that. But like I said, I started seeing this and it was like, oh shit, maybe we should check that out. And then I saw it was free and it's also on console and you know, like I say, it was kind of advertised there and yeah, I think our initial experience was pretty good. I like some of the things I liked about it initially is how they had kind of like put like almost like an extraction shooter inside with a battle royale kind of shooter. You know, I mean, there's a lot of like. It's almost like they've took a mashup of a lot of popular battle royales like Fortnite and Warzone and Apex Legends and like combined a lot of features from each of them, you know, with some new stuff of their own.
Yeah, let's tell everyone, just in case the fellow gamers out there haven't, I mean, you already know what we're talking about. It's a game called Off the Grid, but let us give you some more details real quick here. So the game's developed by Gunzilla Games. And when they got here on one of their websites, it says, Gunzilla Games presents the world's most unhinged battle royale, Off the Grid, a.k.a. OTG. OTG delivers a brand new AAA battle royale third-person shooter experience. Set in a dystopian cyberpunk future, 150 players duke it out across a tropical island while pursuing an immersive 60-hour narrative campaign. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
60-hour narrative.
Yeah, we haven't experienced that part about. So, real quick, and then I'll keep reading this. This has been released as a beta, early access, so it's not a final finished product yet. I'm going to continue reading here, and this is from GunzillaGames.com. OTG aims to evolve the genre by strongly emphasizing its incredible story, giving players the freedom to impact the game with each decision they make. Gamers can craft and customize their in-game items to create their perfect zero. Oh, is that what they're called? Zeros? Okay. And emerge as the victor, which we almost did last night. Ooh, we were so close. Yeah. And yeah, not to backtrack too much, but what I wanted to mention, Chuck, that I found was just so funny and kind of I honestly felt like a warm spot in my heart. And this is when a week ago when you brought it up, because we were in the middle of Warframe, which was the game that I kind of dropped a bomb on the squad with, like, hey guys, you guys want to kind of like, you know, abandon Elden Ring and start playing? I didn't say it like that, but you know, and then I remember, Chuck, you were kind of just like, you know, and Pepe was kind of like, and then it was just so like funny for me. Like we were all like, and like, so you're like, so guys, And we all immediately started downloading it. It was just like, hell yeah, Chuck, let's do, you know, it was just so funny for me. And it was great. I love it. But
and we definitely both took advantage of giving each other a hard time, because at first I didn't really say anything. I was just like, oh yeah, let me look that up. And I was looking up Warframe, and I was like, what's this called again? Is it called I'm Quitting Elden Ring Before I Finished? Yeah. You're like, no. It's like, we knew you were going to say that. And then, like, I'll be honest with you, the other day when we did finally start talking about it, and you were like, guys, I just really don't have time for another game. I believed you for a second. Like the tone in your voice was
pulling your leg.
Yeah. Like, I think Pepe realized you were kidding immediately, but I didn't. Like I was kind of like I didn't say it, but yeah, for a second I thought, you know, maybe he's got a lot going on. Like, you know?
I just wanted to see what your reaction would be, considering I had just done the same thing to you a little bit before with Warframe. Hey, you know, there's a lot of good gaming to be done right now.
Yeah, and as I think about it too, man, it probably makes sense to just be open to that. You know, I think one of the things to realize is that, like, when you get 4,000 hours into a game like Ark or whatever, something like, you're kind of not operating in normal, like play. I mean, I guess you kind of are. Yeah. Like, we know plenty of people that do that, but you're kind of specialized at that point. Like you know, I mean.
Oh yeah. When you cross a barrier, when you're in the thousands of hours on a game, I think it's fair to say that you're maybe not like a pro or like competitive necessarily, but you're certainly an expert at the game. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And you're just playing in a different tier. I think we experienced this when like I think for a good minute, Tortilla was trying to say like, hey, let's get into some Battlefield 1. But when you go play Battlefield 1 with him, it's like he's so like good at it and on a different level, like you know, it sort of is hard to just join in. You know what I mean? Like
I'm gonna timestamp that, Pepe Tortilla,
because we went to play with him. He was just like, "What this frame?" You know, we're like playing and having a good time. He's like, "This frame rate is ridiculous." Like the ping, you know, it's just like and reloading the game immediately. You know, and we're like, I think it was okay. Like, you know, we just couldn't tell any different. And when we got like in the next lobby, I couldn't tell any difference. Like in what, like how? No, yeah, I was still just like, you know, walking along. Like
no, he's very experienced in that game. Yeah. From picking the right servers to you know, to the actual gameplay and getting kills and stuff like that, and then completing objectives. No, I'm with you, man. Sometimes
and I think for me, it's like, you know, I have some personality traits that, like, I think just sort of like those survival games can kind of tick a box sometimes. And when I get focused like that on it, like, yeah, the person that's saying, hey, let's play something else is having the sane reaction is my point, sort of like, you know, like it is time to do something else, like but you know, I'm just like, oh, only 3 more. You know, I just got to find that one blueprint that will have it. You know? Like, and it's just it's a personal thing for me. Like, no one asked me to like go. You know, it's like something I figured out I wanted to do, and you know, I put this whole scenario on myself. So yeah, I guess the point of all this is, like, you know, in the end, it's probably better to be more open to it, and you know.
No, and you know what? I think off the grid, it's great to have off the grid because we now have another battle royale in our circulation. You know, we kind of got we got. You know, we played Warzone tons. We've played Apex Legends before together. We've played. Help me out, Chuck. I'm spacing here. I wouldn't count. Really, I mean, Helldivers isn't a battle royale,
Fortnite, but I played Fortnite like before. Yeah. You know that, and I'm sure y'all did too. Like at some point, and yeah. I mean, there's always been like multiplayer parts to, like, going back to Halo and Black Ops, like some of the first, you know, versions of this. But the battle royale format, I feel like, sort of came out with Fortnite. And
yeah, this is like, you know, if we have our our buffet in front of us, or our meal set up here, it's a really nice little side dish for the moment to have off the grid, because we haven't we haven't really battle royale hard like since Warzone together, right? And so real quick before we jump too far into it, but I guess let's just describe, just in case any fellow gamers listening haven't played it yet, but like, yeah, if you're on PS5, it just came out recently. You can download it. It's free. It's a beta, early access. So, be patient. They just dropped a huge update that made the FPS better and other adjustments, lots of quality of life changes. But
huge crossplay. Like as I understand it, it's like Xbox, PC, everybody's in on this one.
Yep. In fact, real quick, thank you, Chuck, for mentioning that. Let me just bring this up real quick here. I have it on this other. Yeah. Yep. It's on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Series S, Microsoft Windows as well. And the engine is the Unreal Engine 5. So that's promising. That's definitely promising. That's the engine to be on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Let's finish telling them about it, and then I want to talk a little bit about what it's been like playing it.
That's kind of what I'm about to get into, but in a very like, what do you get when you turn the game on kind of a way, right? Because it is a beta and early access, so it might change a bit. So it'll be fun just to kind of like verbally document this in a way, like as the game is now, its state now. Because you turn it on and there's not really like a whole bunch of like logos or publisher, like it just kind of comes on and like I think they start with the video, like the main video. You can watch the video and where they describe what the game's all about. That they're like, it's the first real life battle royale, and basically they're pulling in all people of all places, of all kinds, of all types. And they're like chopping off their limbs, their actual like arms and legs, and putting on. It's so weird to listen to. The first time I watched the video, when we turned it on and started playing, and the video was like explaining, I was like, "That is so far fetched. Yeah. That's so like I don't know about." But once you get into it, it's like okay, whatever. It's supposed to be far fetched. But yeah, they're like, your player is like a regular human that got his legs chopped off, amputated, and they put on these like cybernetic arm things and legs, and so they explain that, and then the video ends, and then what's his name? Sergeant oh God, I forgot his name.
I can't remember his name. What is he keeps calling this like he keeps calling us some kind of weird ass name too, like
he says some of the most rancid gnarly. This game is very vulgar, like,
and you start to realize like there's a tiny bit of tongue in cheekness to it already, like it was like the happy, you had to question like who the hell would voluntarily get their arms and legs cut off, and then like, and I feel like at some point they say in there we have the means to regenerate them, but I never can tell if they just mean we can put a new cyber limb on for you if your cyber limb goes south, or we can like.
No, they can like regrow the limbs, dude. There's like this whole cutscene where they show how they can almost like regrow an entire body. So what they're suggesting with that is that like it doesn't matter how fucked up you get in the battle. Like if you lose an arm, lose an egg, or if they completely blow you up, they can take your like your DNA imprint structure or whatever and just regrow you back to your. So that's what I mean. It's like so insane, dude. But it's like, all right, I'll roll with it.
Well, I mean, it's almost like they've tried to explain how you're respawning too, in the game, and they kind of do like it, And I think almost all of that was in the trailer. That maybe I think when I first introduced this to y'all, I sent it like with to our Facebook Messenger area there, to the trailer. But the trailer doesn't exactly, really outline what you're about to go into, though. I mean, it kind of like lays out a lot of that information. But as far as like, the fact that it's also an extraction game, and there's some blockchain stuff going on here. I feel like since the fact that this is a beta, like we're just like really starting to describe the beginnings of this.
Yeah, it's got so much unique. Well, it's unique, but it also has a lot of at least from what I've seen, my personal hypothesis here is that it has a lot of inspiration, maybe we might call it, or they're certainly taking a lot from other games, but I'll get to that in a second. But like that, so you're getting that initial trailer, which is like the main trailer, and then that ends, and then you're brought to this other guy, which is like I don't remember if he's like a staff sergeant or a gunnery sergeant or a, major sergeant, but and I don't remember his name, dude. I think it's like Venom or something. I'm trying to remember, but
he's like a cyberpunk drill sergeant or something.
And he's got these like cyclops eyes that are green or something like that. And he basically like, you're just looking at this guy and he's telling you what you're gonna do. What your mission is, what you have to accomplish. Survive, the smoke or the death screen or whatever it is, their version of that circle that encloses on the players. And then that's it. You're in your loadout screen, you got your character, which your character basically, there's the base adjustments, the base like modifications for your character are pretty funny. You basically end up looking like a decked out beach surfer dude. At least my character does. He's got like board shorts on and like freaking like loafers or something and a little tank top with this weird it's so funny. He's got like an afro and a green beard. They look funny. They look hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just a few choices, but you can still kind of definitely customize it. And then
Chuck, on that real quick, the customization, because we would have very easily skipped over that, and I'm glad you mentioned that because do you want to tell fellow gamers kind of how the customization works in respect to the gun and the currency, like what you get?
At first you really don't have any guns like
no, I mean the gun currency. How when you win gun, the in-game currency to unlock stuff?
I'm not sure I fully understand it yet, but there is a currency called gun, and I think the most I've ever gotten out of a single round was maybe like 5 gun or something, when some really extensive stuff happened, and you can use that currency to purchase upgrades and guns and limbs and skins, all sorts of things like that, and you really, it's going to take you a good minute of playing, like 20, 30 matches to probably, get enough to buy some kind of gun. With that.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
And I want to say like you have, do you have any guns when you start out, or did we have to get them to begin? You have some hex cubes to begin with, and you've got to decode them and open them, and that will probably provide you 2 guns is what it ultimately provided me.
Yeah. That's all right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for mentioning that as well, Chuck. So that's kind of actually like if you were to ask, well, guys, what are the actual objectives in this battle royale? What are you supposed to do? Well, it reminds me, and this is interesting because we're going to touch on just how many other games it seems are kind of like showing themselves in off the grid, but very similar to Warzone. You can do a bunch of these contracts. Like you'll look on the map and there's these little contracts, and you'll find like you're like, oh, look, there's a contract mark on the mini map, and you'll run to it, and there's like a little walkie-talkie just making like noise, and you pick it up and boom, there's a contract. It might be to hunt some other player, just like back in Warzone. It might be to go look for specific loot on the map, or it might be to go decode this mainframe, whatever. There's different missions, and within those missions, you can obtain these and there's loot boxes that look very similar to the Warzone loot boxes. And you'll run up on one of these loot boxes and stuff will pop out. It'll have maybe a gun, maybe a couple of limbs, because remember, as we mentioned, your limbs are like also weapons, or they're also like things to move fast or do specific like special movements or special actions or whatever. Melee, yeah, like you never know, they do different things. So maybe a couple of limbs will pop out of that loot box, and every now and then a little cube, a hex cube, will pop out. There's different types of cubes. There's common, there's rare. I think there's a few. There's different, and those there are different colors. Your common one is gray. I think the rare one is blue, so on and so forth. And then you'll pick up that hex cube, and the objective. This is kind of like one of the main things that you need to do in a round is extract these hex cubes. How does that go down, Chuck?
This is one of my favorite parts, really, and you gotta like kind of remember this is all going on during a teams of 3 based battle royale that's taking place, but also like while we're doing this, like we're looting crates just like in your other looter shooters, but we find this little hex cube, and then we've got to head to the hex extractor. It's like this big ass red box. It's got some like super high powered like generators up to it, and like we ran over there and we jammed that thing in there, and a counter starts, and all of a sudden this big ass antenna goes up, and they announce to every other player, hey, in Stork City there's a hex extraction taking place, and we've got to like defend.
Go take their shit.
We've got to defend those generators for the next, like, I don't know, it's maybe a minute and a half, couple minutes or something. There, you watch this counter go down, and like some matches people just leave it alone, but sometimes it becomes like a highly contested sort of thing, and other teams have the ability to come over, shoot your generators out, like go mess with the hex extractor, get the hex cube back out and start it back for them. And so it can become just like a side sort of battle amongst the actual other battle royale going on. And it's one of my favorite parts because it's hard to win a battle royale. Like wins are pretty hard to come by. So, this is like a mini win within, the larger picture. It's like, hey, let's focus on this for a minute. And if we're still alive here, we'll go for the win as well. But like, during this respawn period, like let's concentrate on this and get some better guns. And
exactly. And I think there's a lot to say about that because the whole hex cube thing is really tied into your ability to gain additional gun, and also whatever you successfully extract contains some form of loot that you can later incorporate in your inventory. So there's a lot of value in extracting as many hexes as you can, so that once you get out of the round, even if you've lost, you still get all those hex cubes that you can later decode in your loadout menu, which does cost gun. It costs gun which is this currency, GUN. It costs gun to decode those hex cubes, but you'll certainly have enough to decode them. And then once you do, you get whatever's inside, which is great because if you don't get that, let's say there's an assault rifle in a hex cube that you extracted. You decode it. Now it's in your inventory. Now you can use it. That's great because now you don't have to buy it from the marketplace. There's like a market tab in the, it's basically your average loadout screen, like any other you look at. Your character's standing there, he's looking all badass, and you can switch through the tabs, loadout, appearance, mods, or I don't know, whatever. And then there's one marketplace. You can go in there and buy all of the weapons and limbs and specials and so on and so forth in the game. But they're expensive. Not all of them. Pepe Tortilla would hear, he'd be like, hey, not all of them.
So you can buy
and he's right.
And he is right.
And he's right.
Well, I think something to point out here, too, is there's kind of a like they've took a little bit of the page out of Resurgence on Warzone instead of just your like vanilla flavored battle royale. It's a Resurgence battle royale for a certain amount of time. Right? Like we can respawn for a little bit, and I'm not even sure if you can do that in Fortnite, like in Apex Legends, how it works in those games. But like that Resurgence part is a big part because like playing as a team, like remember what it's like to play battle royale on Warzone as a team, like instead of playing Resurgence, like you have to do the gulag thing, and you can very quickly end up spectating, like,
for a minute.
And this game seems to be like a little forgiving on the amount of cash you need. Even once the Resurgence period is over, there are buyback stations, and it's pretty cheap, like relatively speaking. We seem to be able to come up with the cash fairly quickly. Compared to other games.
And that cash comes out of those loot boxes we were talking about. And you can also get cash from completing those little side quest missions, those contracts in the game.
And I wanted to get that out there, but to like further talk about like what you just described about how the gun system works, I don't think they've done it yet. But if you really look in there, like each little thing, like including like different rarer versions of each gun and stuff like that, has a hashtag number. And as I understand it, like all of these things are going to be linked to a blockchain to ultimately there's going to be an in-game economy where we can trade these things, and there's something in there to sort of facilitate that, like
like a foundation for that to come in play later.
And one of the things I've heard is
That's
like it's going to be
awesome.
similar to how Counter-Strike does something similar, but in Counter-Strike you've got to use like a third-party app to do it, and this will be a game that allows us to do it in there. And I've even heard it mentioned that like they call these Web3 games. Like I think like a good ways back we did. There was this War Riders game. I think I was all pumped up about that had NFTs kind of involved in it and stuff. And it turned out to be like a big old scam. Like you know, all of those were just big cash grabs. Like where those
didn't you lose like $20 to those fools or something?
I probably
like that?
did sign up at some point. Yeah, I think you know, like for sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Like part of my $20 was I own a worthless War Rider vehicle somewhere, I'm sure. like this, or at least
maybe we'll get to put it to use after all.
Point being, though, like lessons being learned from some of that. Like this is a game that has that ability. They just haven't like made it the focus, which tells me like they're probably not like just doing it for greedy ass reasons, or that would have probably been the first thing they did. You know, like they're getting that functionality in there, which will be cool as shit, dude. Because you imagine you Xbox out with something that's worth $5 or $6 in real life. like, know, like you're going to be pretty pumped about it, and yeah. And
it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. And we'll have to see. 'Cause like, I'd be interested to see if Sony PlayStation has anything to say about that and what they'll be okay with on their, on their platforms. That'll be interesting, dude. That's fascinating. And I really
there's some information in Forbes. Forbes.com is about the only place I could find information about it. I definitely had heard there was a crypto side to this game, but one of the reasons you're not hearing much about it is it's not been really implemented yet. Like I think it's happening. Like some of the stuff that's probably happening in that marketplace is getting recorded blockchain style. But it's like that's more to come. Yeah. Which makes you even think like, man, this is a.
It might be smart for them, like based off what you've investigated and stuff. Providing this goes forward, it's probably wise for them to not really like lean into the whole blockchain part of this yet until they get a good base of, because a lot of people are still like put off by that stuff, and just the thought of like, off the grid blockchain, NFTs, that. For a lot of people, that would be just kind of like, oh, you know what? I am interested in playing this game, but I don't know. I just don't feel too, you know what I mean?
Well,
so it's
because when you think about it, that's how all economies work. Like we trade like paper money that really is just a piece of paper, but the fact that we believe it's worth what it's worth is what makes it worth that. So they have to build that worth first. It has to.
Oh yeah, Chuck,
it has
dude.
to. I have to realize that it's super rare for there to be an Osprey like sniper rifle like this, and it's worth $5 to me. Like I see what you're saying. And there's someone else that's sitting somewhere that's like, shit, that is rare, but it's part of a video game, and I'd rather have $5 that I believe, that I know I can,
Man.
Like currency is an interesting thing. Like. It's all based on a faith in something, because once it goes, man, it goes. Like
it's part of the social contract, dude.
Yeah,
that's deep. That's some deeper philosophical stuff. But man, that's fascinating. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that rolls out over time, or if it's ever rolled out to that extent that we're talking about. Because they can kind of. That's something that I feel like maybe they could do in stages, or who knows? We'll see.
Because even though I'm saying like it sort of looks like they're not greedy, there have been people that there has been a few haters like that I've started to notice, and some of the things they're pointing out is that they've bought this hype.
They're
and yeah, that's something I think like you could almost like we've even thought about that. Like, should we advertise this podcast? Like what kind of marketing do you do? And if I think at the end of the day, you want your integrity to matter the most. Obviously, like you don't sell your soul to the devil just to get like some views or some subscribers to downloads of a video game. But it does. I think it points to
Yeah.
people that had money to begin with. Your indie folks can't necessarily, they don't have a big marketing budget. So.
Well, I'd never heard of this developer until this now, Gunzilla. I had Gunzilla Games. I don't know what their track record is, what other games they've done. Maybe they've made some some games in the past that are blockchain games, NFT types with NFT options and stuff like that. We'll have to look into that. It might be interesting. But fascinating stuff, dude. I hadn't really thought about it from that angle, like you were laying out. So that's interesting.
Some of the just little stuffs I got a whiff of when I was doing that is a lot of new games are kind of like incorporating Web3 type technology. Apparently that sort of fallen streamer Dr. Disrespect that kind of got into like a little bit of controversial type things and lost his job. The game they were developing, he lost his job there with, even as one of the head honchos of the company. But the game they're making is also on the blockchain. So it kind of just gave me a feeling like, shit, maybe this is something they have to do, like to kind of...
Well, there might be some real advantages to use it, because it is kind of like, a new form of tech, I guess, I suppose, it's a new frontier. Or maybe it's, semi-new. We've been talking about this for a little bit at least, but... there might be a lot of advantages that we're not aware of to developing.
Yeah, especially when you're going to give it away for free in the front. Like there has to be some way that you make money. And
now, Chuck, do we know that? Like, I mean, that's interesting. Because I guess I haven't actually read anything in concrete. I'm sure the answers are here. But I'm not going to stop just to read a full article and look for the answer. But I'm curious if, like, when they do like their... Like, okay, guys, this is it. As of this date, this is the full version. It's not early access anymore. Here she is. If they'll charge or not, I guess probably not. You're not going to let everyone get on there and just build this whole community and then be like, oh, okay, guys. Well, now it's going to be $60.
Let me get some shells out here and move them around for you, because this is what they'll do. I think at the end of the day, like, is will we feel like we got charged or not? Because the model has been that you don't charge for a battle royale game.
You're right. What am I even talking about?
But they're gonna make some cash, dude. Like, somehow.
Oh yeah.
Because like we didn't pay for Warzone, but like I've bought a few battle passes, and like just ultimately you're gonna pay.
Yeah, you're right.
I think is my point. Like,
yeah. Well, hey, just because we are getting along here in the pod, I guess let's talk about the actual like gunplay and like fighting and cover and move and shooting and what have our experiences been so far, because it is a lot different than other battle royales I've played, just based off the premise that it's a third person shooter, number one. Warzone is not, and that's what we're really used to. Go ahead. Yeah. What do you?
It's different. It's different. Like some of the general things I can say. I noticed I could tell where my bullets were hitting on the person I was shooting way better than it ever had. And I went back and watched some Warzone play just to kind of like try to figure that out. And it seems like when you shoot someone in Warzone, there is like a kind of a little X that comes off of where they're hit, but it's much more generalized. Like this one seems to be like, I can really tell when I'm hitting them in the head, and I always sort of could, but like this feels better. Like I can really tell. And I like that third person sort of view that I don't know that I thought much about it. But you're right. It's not like that in Warzone. Like it's kind of just your arms, like they're in front of you.
Something that really is that I've really noticed is that the whole, at least this is what it seems like to me, and I am going to continue to compare with Warzone here in terms of like the mechanics, but I just kind of noticed that shooting at the other players, it feels a lot different. I feel like in this game, I'm not inclined as much to get all aggro with my play style. What do I mean by that? Like I'm not jumping, slide canceling, moving from cover, slide cancel, and then coming up on the player, slide cancel, jump, slide, 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 No, it's like way different. It's way different. Like I'm having much more success, like using cover wisely, very wisely, because why do I say that? Because with cover in this game, because you're in third person, you can stand behind cover and still have a very good feel and view of kind of like the surroundings. You can see, like if you're standing behind a pillar, like under a bridge, you can see behind that pillar because you're in third person, where otherwise in like Warzone, you're first person. You get behind the pillar because you're getting shot at. Someone's coming, but you can't see them. You're plating up, reloading. And then by the time you're about to come out, like the chances are like the guys, it's more challenging.
Yeah, because when you're close to cover in Warzone, you can't see around, and when you stand back, they get like a little advantage on you somehow. Like you're exactly right. You can use cover. You can stand in cover and still see.
Yeah. Dude, you gotta watch that video I shared with you, you and Pepe Tortilla, man. He dives into all of these little nuances. You watch that one. So that's one thing I definitely noticed, and I also noticed this. And like the whole like bullet spread thing is way different in this game. Like if you shoot from stillness, if you can, like you're not always going to be able to do that, but if you can find the opportunities and play in a way that gives you an advantage where you can move, like get behind cover, expose yourself, still not moving, take your shots, get back behind cover, your bullet spread is going to be tight and right on target. If you're moving even a little while shooting, man, the bullet spread is all over the place. It's like you do not, like you want to avoid, like you really want to, like if you crouch, it doesn't seem like you can go prone in this game, but if you crouch and take your shots, man, it's tight. You're going to nail the enemy player. And because I think a lot of players are still trying to figure this game out, the sooner we learn these things and these differences, being third person and, having these advantages that in a first person we wouldn't, it'll give us a real advantage, at least in these initial months that the game's out. Because, dude, people are playing this game like it was Warzone, just moving around, trying to slide. They're trying to do all that stuff that we're so familiar with. But I really think there's a better advantage to just using cover wisely, only like exposing yourself to take, nice, stable shots and getting back behind cover, and it's definitely a game where you don't want to find. I mean, you don't want to find yourself out in an open area in any of these battle royales, but definitely not in this one.
Well, you're exactly right. Because honestly, like when I get in a close range gunfight, I'm pushing the buttons to do what you're talking about in Warzone, and it's not doing anything. like I want to dive like out of the way somehow or something, and like my man, like guy just stands there and like takes it, and yes, it almost sounds like the Warzone before this like when we really went to the brand new version of it, and it took away. It was like that Warzone before was like dependent on movement, and there was certain players that you would run into, and I would see them doing that amount of movement, and I'd just be like, damn near give up. Like you're just like, because I would watch videos on how to do what the demons were doing, and I just didn't have that kind of energy inside of me that I was going to play like fucking I'm going to just like the way they were playing it. And so when they came out with that next version, everyone said like, wow, this is for the old school players, like that really liked, Black Ops 2 from back in the day and stuff. Like you can stand still and fight, which I felt like is more like Mill Sim, like that's the way it is in real life. Like I'm definitely going to shoot better if I'm standing, feet shoulder width apart and my gun, resting on my shoulder
with
than if I'm base, like doing a backflip and I'm not saying somebody in the world can't do it, but it's not practical, and it's just not the way that shit works either. But I feel like for those people, they do have like a shit ton of limb attachments that do shit like that.
God, dude, we haven't even got into that yet.
Yeah, like the legs. Like if you're into movement, I mean, you can get yourself a grappling hook arm and a fucking set of legs, and you already have a jetpack on you. So you know, if you're a movement junkie, you can kind of do that. And when I see that, like it kind of reminds me of the tiny bit of Apex Legends I played, like where there's a lot of, you know, each character just has like just wildly different abilities that are more science fiction, like, you know, than say a milsim would be.
Quick Chuck point. Dude, that's exactly why towards the beginning of this episode that I said that this game took influence from other battle royales. It's so evident, dude. There's so much Warzone in Off the Grid. There's so much Apex Legends in Off the Grid. Just the whole jetpack and like zooming around and the arm limb things. It's like I don't remember the name of there's like a robot type character in Apex Legends that I loved playing with. It had a grappling hook type of ability. Dude, it's like what are we playing?
Yeah. And for me, it just like what sucked about Apex Legends for me, just something with my color blindness. I couldn't see my opponents like I could in Warzone, so it ended it for me. But somehow Off the Grid is fine though. I can clearly see who I'm fighting, and you know that was an ender for me in Apex Legends for whatever reason.
Dude, oh my God! Thank God, you've reminded me of really important shit this whole episode, because I'm trying to pack in we want to pack in as much of the important stuff as we can. Another thing that's so much just like Warzone that's in Off the Grid is that whole opening sequence, dude, where you're on that big ass jet and you're coming over the map, and it's like, oh, Teardrop Island. There it is. It looks just like as if you were coming up on Rebirth Island or something like that. And then you see the names pop up over the different like areas of the map, and it's like, what are we playing? Is this Warzone?
Yeah. But with its own
and then
little
you jump
flavor,
out of the plane,
like the jetpack is its own flavor. Yeah, the jetpack's its own flavor because you know it's not a parachute, and I definitely agree with you. They've taken that influence, but it's almost like they've taken a lot of the good shit, you know, and like taken what works and sort of put it in there, like that little bit of resurgence, you know, part to it, and the one if I was going to go somewhere negative, like I will say that we've all said it's way funner when we're all three together, which is sort of normal, but man, playing with randos on this has really been like a mixed bag for me. Like I've had some decent experiences and never came close to winning, but I have like extracted a hex or two and, you know, generally played the game like competitively, but I've also gotten just, you know, some guy that, you know, has got like music in the background wide open and like his mic's on open mic constantly, and it's just blah, 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 and like at the same time he's like explaining how he's the best person that ever played the game. Like, you know, you're just like, what? And I, you know, I haven't played it long enough to be really confident like it's not my gear that's making that noise, so I'm like working with it, trying to figure out what the fuck, you know, is it my mic that's got that hum in the back? And
dude. Oh, man. Speaking of it, you were on fire yesterday, dude.
Yeah, we all were doing.
You were
great,
really
man.
carrying the squad. Yeah, but you know, when like you can see the list on this. That's another thing, you know, on the right side of the screen, you can see who's downing and killing who, and you know, ChukTomahawk's popping up in the green like a bunch there on the list. It's like, fuck, dude, I'm dead, waiting to respawn, and Chuck's just like fucking. Ding. Ding,
I wish I knew. Like I had one of my the most exciting match I feel like is the one that I had the best success in, and like at the end I didn't realize we were that close to winning. Like I probably would have tried a little harder.
Fuck, dude. What about that round when we got 5 hex extractions? It's like, where is everyone?
That one. It was just like it was our game to get like loot somehow or something. But we've had a variety of good ones in it, and I feel like we're about a top 7 or 8 team right now, 6, 7, 8, like that we can do pretty consistently. I feel like we had a 2 and, you know, a 17 here and there, but like
we're gonna get a W soon.
I think I've had a 20, maybe, or 18 out of 20.
Yeah, we're on the board though. We're always on the board. Yeah.
And it's a good time, man. I will say, like what I wanted to bring up earlier though is like I did like I think there's a certain group dynamic that happens when we get in these type of games that wasn't exactly coming out in Warframe. Like Warframe to me, like yeah, it didn't exactly. I don't know, like there's something about that battle royale, like going for the dub, fucking feeling.
It makes people fucking wig out a little bit, changes people.
Yeah, because it's always a combination of like
it'll make you a little
staying
less
together
friendly with your friends, unfortunately.
But it's like it's got to be a mix. It's like, you know, we're kind of running around looting boxes, and I see you open a box, and like obviously I'm not going to just come grab the shit you grabbed or whatever. So I naturally say, like, you know, he's going left, I'm going right or whatever. But then we engage some people. Somebody gets engaged, and then it's like, well, guys, we got to stick together. And it's like, well, you know, like you can't exactly stick completely together, but you know what I mean. Like it's a
I'm gonna timestamp that.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Like, but you do need to stick together in this game. I feel like because, man, you run against teams stacked up pretty deep. Like they're 3 people deep, and they're gonna eat your ass, man. Because you run out of ammo super fast in this game. I feel like you basically have enough. I feel like in most of the guns I own, if I hit you with almost every shot, I can kill you. But if I don't, if I miss, 3 or 4, like you're going to survive it. And so, when it comes to fighting multiple enemies, like you got to swap guns and do all that stuff. But yeah, the reason I'm bringing all this up, there was one instance, I swear this is true. Like I've had to sit on this for 3 or 4 days now. Like we were both of us, like you got killed, and then like a second later I got killed, and literally as I was dying, like I watched what happened to you, like I was responding to like what was happening to you, and engaged like another one of the team, and you got killed by that guy, and I got killed by this guy, and you're like, we gotta stay together, and I'm like looking right at you, and I'm like, we are together, and you say,
wait, where was Pepe though? Maybe I was saying to Pepe.
You said like, no, you're on a different floor than me, and like I knew that like if I had to argue this, like it was gonna just get ugly, so I was just like, okay, yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm on another floor that's not you that I'm looking at. I mean, you weren't wrong. Like I wasn't shooting at the guy you were engaged with. Like, we weren't in a position to help each other, but literally we were like, in real life it probably represented about 50 feet, and I was just like,
This is all true, fellow gamers. I'm guilty. No, you're right, man.
Well, and you do kind of like you do, like I say, just being involved in shit like squad based work jobs or whatever. Like you do kind of want to be a leader and like be a squad leader of sorts, and it we need it, and I'm perfectly fine with it, but I it's amazing how those games bring that out. Like nothing brought it out like Helldivers. Like we've talked about that. Like nothing. Helldivers. I think like. Yeah,
you
I don't
think
know.
so? You think that brought? I figured like those types of situations. I feel like we ran into them the most playing Warzone. Especially
in a different way, because like in Helldivers, it was more like. Just sort of that extraction was on the line and those few samples or whatever. But when that win, that elusive fucking win, like is out there, like it produces something different. There's a reason, like I mean, because
there's a reason why battle royales are so successful.
Yeah, and like when we do get to that final scene and win, like it fit.
Oh, dude,
freaking sing
I'd rather
out.
get that than fucking a lot of shit. I'm not even gonna start to describe.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can still remember some of our last wins on Warzone, and I just we wanted it, and we were super close. And one thing else I kind of want to say about this gameplay is the smoke in this game, dude, is just like. The whatever it is that they chase you down with, like, and force you to force the battlefield to get tighter and tighter. God, it is so unforgiving. If you just I mean, there's so many times like there was one time last night I was just like, oh, we were kind of like, man, there's all kinds of guys right down there. It looks like they're all running from that sign. It's like,
It's like, oh yeah,
we should also be running. I was just standing there, a sniper at them, and looked, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there's a big red wall like coming right the fuck at me." And I have this problem, like
it's like a force field. It kind of looks like a force field.
It used to happen to me on Warzone too. Like sometimes especially when I'm deep in the smoke, I can't tell if I'm in it or out of it. Like I get, that happened in that win last night. I'd ran from the smoke so long last night and was so close to dying for so long. I literally just gave up. And I saw somebody else like in the same shot, and I shot him, and I was like, well, that's good enough. And then I realized we were in second place.
I'll take it. Good luck, guys. I'm gonna sit down for a minute.
Yeah, I literally did. I wasn't even trying to get away anymore, and I was still alive. I was just kind of like, because I have no real clue what the fucking smoke does. Like, I understood at the end of Warzone, it would kind of get down to that weird ass part, like where it was just like a really small circle, and it sort of swapped places a little bit, and then it would eventually go down to nothing. And
whoever would survive the longest would.
Yeah. But as far as what's happening there at the end, I mean, I'll glance up at the mini map and try to figure it out. But when I look up at the mini map, there's like a dashed circle, then there's a solid circle, and I'm just like, well, it appears the information's there, but I can't interpret it.
It is because, like, there'll be the circle, and then there'll be a line. What that's describing is that the circle is reached its smallest point, and it's going to now start moving. It's going to move on that line. So if there's a circle like this and the line's going this way, the circle's going to start moving that way. Right? And then, sorry, I bumped the mic. So just for next time, but yeah.
And there's also a line that shows like how far I am out of the circle. Like at times, or it shows me what direction to go, like to get back in it. And when I look up at that mini map, it's like I'm just trying to like, what is going on here? And at the same time, you're having to just, you work some fucking legs that you're not super familiar, and
we're figuring it out.
You get the inverted flying, it's a handful.
Well, we got to wrap this one up, and I think the best way to wrap it up, Chuck, will be with one. We'll call it pro tip. You got a tip for our fellow gamers out there that might give or that are playing off the grid, or that might give it a shot after hearing this? You got a tip for them?
The shoulder swap. Shoulder swap all day long. That's what I'm trying to work on. But going back to what you described about using cover, like so if the cover I'm using is like beneficial to be right-handed, like do that, and if push up on the D-pad and you can switch the gun over to your left shoulder and use the cover from the left side, effectively.
Got it. Now I understand what you're saying. That is a huge pro tip. Don't forget to shoulder swap if you're on the PlayStation 5. That's up on the D-pad?
I think so, it is. Yeah.
Okay. My tip for y'all out there is, at least for the time being, do not melee. The melee mechanic is not good. I was fortunate enough to sneak up on a guy from behind, and I didn't have any ammo left, so I'm like, okay, I finally figured out how to melee. You can melee in Off the Grid. It doesn't seem like you can go prone, but you can melee. I think you have to hold the trigger and press triangle, and it'll melee, which is a very weird... we don't have to get into that, but I walked up behind this enemy player, dude, and I meleeed him like 4 times, dude. Like, just, bam, blood came out. Bam, blood came out. Bam, blood came out. And right when I was getting the 4th one, and he finally turned around and just jumped off. And I was like, okay, this is,
I thought you were going to pants him when you walked up there. You were snuck right up behind him, crouched down, and he was leaning. He was shooting, like, not even looking at you. I was spectating you, and I saw like 3 punches, and then it was like I respawned, so I didn't get to see the ending, but...
Yeah, so if you're in a close quarters battle with the guy and you think, okay, I got a bunch of shots in him, it should only take 1 melee hit and I'll be good. It won't work. Just find cover, get behind cover, plate up, and re-engage. And that's all I got for you for now.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, awesome, Chuck. This was a fun episode. 58.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm excited to play some more of that game, the Off the Grid.
Yeah, dude. In fact, I think I'm just going to go drop off my car at the car wash, come back, and I'll probably be on soon. I want to get some gaming in before I head to the big city.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, appreciate yours too, brother.
Thanks for your time, fellow gamers out there. We love you tons.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Everybody, get in there and get some of that off the grid, free of charge. While it's in beta here.
Get off the grid. All right. Cool, everyone. We'll see you soon with another episode. New Wave Gaming. Peace.
Peace.